Dear students in Jesus Christ, have you ever wondered what you would do if Jesus knocked on your door today and said, I must stay at your home? Would you smile with joy or would you feel shy or afraid? Think about for a moment. Jesus does not visit only perfect or famous people. He comes to everyone, even to those who feel small, ignored, or judged by others. Today's gospel tells us about Zacchaeus, a tax collector in the ancient city of Jericho. Jericho is one of the oldest cities in the world. Its name means fragrant. In the Old Testament, God told the Israelites to march around the Jericho for 7 days. On the seventh day, the walls of the city fell down. This reminds us that God's power can bring great change, just as He can change your hearts today. Zacchaeus was a rich man, but people did not like him. He collected more money than he should and treated others unfairly. Yet Jesus chose to visit his home. Why? Because Jesus looks at the heart, not at the mistakes or the past. Jesus saw that Zacchaeus could change, and Zacchaeus did change. He gave half of his money to the poor and returned what he had taken from others. Meeting Jesus transformed his life, and his change blessed the whole community. This story teaches us something important. Jesus is always knocking at the door of our hearts. When we welcome him, he brings peace, goodness, and new beginnings. We say, yes, Jesus, stay with me, not only with the words, but with our actions. By being kind, honest, forgiving, and helpful. We do not need to be perfect to follow Jesus. What matters is a willing heart. If we open our hearts like a Zacchaeus did, Jesus will make our lives shine with his love. Today, we also celebrate the feast of the dedication of the basilicas of St. Peter's and Paul. These are two of the most important churches in the world because they were built over the tombs of the great apostles who gave everything for Jesus. St. Peter, the leader of the apostles, died in Rome around 64 AD and was buried on Vatican Hill. Emperor Constantine later built the church over his tomb. Many years later, a larger and more beautiful church was built, the St. Peter's Basilica we know today. St. Paul the Apostle to the Gentiles was martyred in Rome in 67 AD. He was buried along the Austrian Way, and Constantine also built a church over his tomb. After a great fire in 1823, it was rebuilt and is now called the Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls. These two basilicas reminds us of the strong faith, courage, and love of Peter and Paul. They stood firmly for Christ even when it was hard. Their churches have lasted for centuries, just as their faith continues to inspire us today. So, as we reflect on Zacchaeus and on St. Peter and Paul, let's ask Jesus to come into our hearts. Let's be open, humble, and ready for change. And let our faith be strong, like the basilicas that stand in Rome, and like the apostles who built the foundations of our church. May our hearts become a place where Jesus is always welcome. Amen.